Hi again, this is another video response to Moses McCormick for the video where he was talking about teaching native language to kids and how to raise your kids in a different language. Well, I have a daughter and she was born in Brazil, but we moved here a little before she was a year old, and since she's been living here, she's learning a lot of English much faster than Portuguese. So we decided to have what we call a war against the environment, meaning she's going to learn English from friends, from interaction with people and other kids, and then we'll be teaching Portuguese at home so she can grow up speaking English with the people around and Portuguese as her native language. Of course, sometimes she mixes the languages, English and Portuguese. She'll say half of the sentence in Portuguese, half of the sentence in English, but she's getting a grasp of both at the same time. And lately, in the last couple months, she's being able to split them apart. So if we tell her, please speak this, say this in Portuguese, she'll turn everything into Portuguese and say it, the whole phrase. And when we ask her to say it in English, she'll have the same result. And for example, when she interacts with people that speak English, she would reply to questions, she would talk, she would explain herself in English. When we start talking to her, she would automatically start speaking in Portuguese. And another interesting thing is that we taught her some sign language before she was able to speak, and she grasped that just as well as she's grasping the verbal languages right now. And it is pretty interesting. Sometimes when she wakes up and she doesn't want to talk, you know, when you just woke up, you don't want to talk to anybody. I feel like that sometimes. She would sign if she want milk, if she want to use the restroom, if she want a cookie or an apple, if she want to say thank you, she'll sign to us, and it's pretty interesting. I'd like to challenge some people, if they are watching this video, if you have kids and they are not able to speak yet, teach them some signs, some sign language. You'll be surprised how much they learn, and they will start to understand how communication works, how language works, and that's actually good for their development anyway. So as Moses was saying, that he would teach his kids English and then Chinese because of his wife. The deal with me and my wife, I would say my wife and I, we are teaching English and Portuguese to our daughter. My wife is from Brazil too, so she speaks Portuguese as a native language, but we both speak English since we are living here in the US. But I'm also teaching her other languages. For example, we have a Chinese neighbor, and she already learned how to say 谢谢, 你好, and some other expressions in Chinese, so she can communicate, and she likes it. She watches some cartoons on TV, and she's able to learn from, she learns Spanish with Dora, and she learns Chinese with Kailan. And there are some very nice cartoons out there that teach kids languages, but it is essential for kids to learn the language of their parents, that they may keep the tradition, they may keep the culture. There's nothing worse than kids that drop their traditions, kids that drop their culture. They don't speak the language of their parents, they don't keep the culture of their families, they don't honor that tradition, that culture, that history that comes from their ancestors. I'm very traditionalist. I like to keep traditions, I like to keep the traditional form of languages. That's the reason why I love the traditional Chinese, and I'm kind of iffy on the simplified. I like the full writing in Arabic instead of the abbreviated form, like the no artistic one. I like the writing of the Quran because it's beautiful the way it is. The original is much prettier than whatever we may do today. But again, going back to teaching kids languages, teach them. It is going to be good for them in the future. Teach them whatever you know, everything you know. And when they get to the age when they will be able to make a decision, they'll have a base, they'll have a knowledge enough to think, oh, this is pretty cool. I don't like this very much, so I'll opt for this instead of that one, and they will go forth on their own legs. But while they cannot make that decision, while they cannot interpret the different nuances of a language or what would be more beneficial for them, teach them whatever you have. Okay? Whatever you speak, teach them. If you know a second language, not fluently, teach what you know, teach how you know, and they will be able to improve on their own. Or maybe you improve your language and teach them at the same time. There are many ways. You can choose the way you want to teach your kids. Of course, nobody's here to tell you how to raise your kids. But make sure that you're giving them the chance to learn something that will help them in the future. If they learn one or two languages when they are young, any language in the future will be easier. Okay? And that's it. If you have any questions about how I teach my daughter and how she's grasping those languages and anything like that, just let me know. Go to my channel, leave a comment, or send me an email, whatever you'd like, and I'll let you know. Okay? See you next time.